Welcome to Virtual Play live game development streaming. We're a small indie game company in the Netherlands, making a lot of applied games, but also working on our own entertainment games. We have big plans, including a lot of new technologies and very cool new gameplay ideas. For this stream, we'll be showing the entire process of building our new game Hatchball, which is not really technically innovative, but a mashup of pinball and collecting and caring for cute creatures. My name is Stephan, and I've been programming and making games for over 30 years. When I was very young, I already had two big passions, music and computers. So I'm basically a self-taught programmer from a time before the internet and tutorials, and just studied computer science and artificial intelligence years later. Let's get started. Good evening, or afternoon, or morning even, depending on where you are. So I've just had a busy day of some teaching stuff, exams, stuff like that. Grading way too much, online calls, stuff like that. So you might think I wasn't really looking forward to streaming now, but actually, yeah, I am. I really look forward to building games always. So gonna continue Hatchball where I left last time, which should lead to some rollover stuff right now. So that's just where I'm going to pick it up. All right, I haven't opened anything yet, but I'm just gonna do that now. Meanwhile, gonna tell a little bit more about. Let's see if I did shut everything down. Yes. All right. So while Unity is loading, I'm just going to tell a little bit more about what I'm planning for the rest of the game, and especially making it and streaming, because I'm also planning some streams separate from this development. I might start streaming something related to music or audio at some point, depending on if I'm actually going to work on that or if there's somebody else going to work on that. And also I might do some co-streams with my colleagues, invite them to come talk about game design, how we do it, talk about having our own game company, talking about art, stuff like that. I might do that in the future too. For now, I'm just going to continue working on development, and for that, I'm going to check where I left off. Indeed, added the rollovers as last thing I did. Just going to already launch Visual Studio, so that's open. And then I'm going to check what my plans were. Yeah, so rollover interaction was the first one. Okay, so last time I made these rollovers, they light up when the ball goes over them, and they go off when the ball goes over them another time, etc., etc. So they toggle, and then yeah, what I need now is them to become a group, just like the drop targets, but then oh, I already did that. Let's see. Drop targets, yes. Sorry, drop targets, no, rollovers. I made a rollover group already. Thing is, I put this in the wrong layer. See that now? It should be there. Well, not in the wrong layer, but in the wrong group of stuff. It doesn't really matter a lot, but it's just not neat to keep everything organized. Then, let's see. These things are circle colliders. They're over here. What did I want to do? Oh yes, I know what I want to do. The rollover group should be able to circulate. What do you call that? If I press the flipper button, you should be able to make all the lights go to the next one. So you cycle through the rollovers. If I put that in rollover group, it's not going to be useful for the order of stuff. So I'm actually thinking of putting all that into rollover script itself and just making a field for the next rollover. So it shows everything with shift as well, huh? Kind of lame. I'm gonna look into another type of keyboard. I think I'm just gonna turn it off now. It will just distract me a lot. Next rollover needs to be set. Do I need to previous as well? Yes. Alright, so what I'm gonna do is on a specific key press, it will get 2 input methods, not like the flipper or the plunger that has just 1 input method. I'll just copy this for ease. Roll over. This one will have 2 input methods. Does it matter whether it's... No, only when it's pressed down for the flipper buttons. So I will make a 1 input left and 1 input right method, because they will want to know what to communicate their state to. So they will all get, let's think, they will all get this call. You don't really know in what order. Yeah, you do know in what order, but still it needs to take the value that the other one had previously. So I'm gonna need a temporary value to store its lit, like the one it's getting from externally. Let's see if I can just show that. Is cycled. I don't need to do that. And is cycled and then cycle input. So these are inputs that I'm going to use whenever the left flipper is pressed. I'm going to, let's just fix this first. I'm going to take the value from, so cycle input value from the one that's on my right, because then the thing cycles to the left. So I'm gonna get, hold on, left rollover and right rollover. So left will take the right rollover's lit value and say, okay, I've been cycled. And then on update, I don't have that yet. Nope. Every update, it will check if there is a cycle, and then it will update. Yes, it will update its own lit value with the input that it got. Because if I don't do this intermediate step, then I will get in trouble with the fact that one will update and then the other one will read it. Oh, I won't. Okay, I can do it a different way. Don't need the temporary thing. Sorry. Just, I shouldn't say sorry about this kind of thing, but it's just I'm saying that to myself as well. So I actually only need to read the value that I'm gonna get if it's no. I thought I could do it easier. It's not true. Is it? I made a note of this last time. Let's look into my notes. Hatchball. Rollover stuff. No, I think I really need to do it this way. All right, so it's getting a new input for the value it needs to have. After it was cycled, it will have that value. Then it will say it's cycled and we'll get a new value. Yeah, that's really necessary. So that's when it gets from the left, and when it gets it from the right, it will just take the value from the left one. Yep. So what happens now? I feed it input. It will say I'm taking the value from the rollover to my right, put that into my temporary variable, say okay, I'm cycled. So then that gets called the next update, and then I take the input that I got from. So it will take one frame, or no, one tick, fixed update, one tick before it actually cycles. So that will go quick enough to respond, to be responsive, and they will all get the values from this frame and then update their own value, so it doesn't get like overwritten before it gets read by another one. So now the only thing I need to do is this one is right on the right side is number 2, and on its left side it cycles around is number 3. For number 2 it's easier. The left is D1 and the right is D3, and for D3 the left is D2 and the right is D1. And now I should just feed them input. Events, player events, left flipper gets 1 and right flipper gets 1, namely, oh, they get 3. Oh, that's plunger. So they both get 3 extra objects to feed the input to. Rollover 1, rollover 2, rollover 3, rollover 3, yes, rollover 1, rollover 2, and rollover 3. And I have to feed this the right input, this input left, rollover, input left, rollover, input left, and here same with right. Right, where is it? Oh, wrong one. Right, and input right. All right, so yep, that's good. It should work. Let me see. I first have to launch it into that thing, so maybe I should put it there already. Because I think last time I had some trouble getting it there, but I will try with the plunger actually. Oh, that works. No, it doesn't. And testing will take too long this way. One more try before I give up and actually hand it over to. Oh yeah, there we go. Okay, right, cycling, left cycling, good, works. Right, left, perfect. Okay, that's rollover interaction. I did not test if all 3 can be lit, and then it will actually show its lit version, but okay, I'm gonna pause it for this. I pressed, by the way, that's I think I made this thing. Yep, quick Unity tip. I pressed Control Shift P, so Command Shift P for those on Mac. All right, that's to pause it while I'm running, and then I can just quickly press that. Let's see, what I'm gonna do now is just move the ball from where it is now onto just over there, so it will actually go down. Let's see. Nope, it had the wrong velocity. Now it will be okay. Whoop. And does it actually? Yes, it went off, though it did not take the color. Did I already put that in the code? I don't remember. Let's see. Rollovers. Rollover. It's actually the group. The group, and when all of them are no, it just says reset. Reset should then. Huh. Now all are lit. It should first make each of them be extra lit. Rollover dot brighten. I don't know. I called it M color, but actually might be nice to call it bright color. And then bright color is white. And then it will, if I do brighten before reset, brighten, then I will give them their sprite renderer.color is gonna be bright color. I will do the don't maximize on play. That's the button there, maximize on play. Hold on, what? Oh, whoops. Sometimes happens. Compiling, yes. The ball I'll place over there. And then I don't maximize so I can easily pause it every now and then. It will go through that thing first. Whoop. And now I'm actually going to put it over there. And now I'm gonna put it over there and it will. Yes, they lit up white and then stopped. Good. Right, rollovers done, which means I'm going to commit. That's my other thing. I'm just testing these clips. Yes, quick Git tip. I mean, it's not really a tip. It's something you should know if you're already using Git. Commit as often as you can. Now, actually, I'm doing this by myself, but still makes sense to commit a lot because if I want to reverse something, it's way easier to look into small commits for what was changed and to change stuff back than large commits. Just a quick tip. Rollover. Whoa, that's caps lock. Rollover interaction finished. Finishes. That's another part of the quick Git tip. Always write this in the third person. Like, from what is the commit doing? The commit, like, colon, finishes, rollover, interaction. That's another Hatchball one. I actually forgot to turn off my notifications. That's dumb. All right. Let's see. Pushing that, and then I'm going to go on with the next part. And the next part would be a status UI. Some people might wanna grab hold of their seats because they don't like UI. Lots of programmers don't like UI. Why? Because it's very graphical. Of course, it makes sense. But if you're making games, you should get used to graphical stuff because what you're doing is nothing else. So you should definitely be aware of what to do with UI. So I'm actually super comfortable with UI. So what I'm gonna do is create a canvas. I'm just setting it up myself. I'm not gonna do silly stuff. So using screen space overlay is fine. Using screen space camera can be easier sometimes because then you get for instance here, you get the UI to show up actually where you're doing it. So now you can see the camera is actually I'm not showing the camera. Am I? Where is the camera? Oh, there it is. There's no gizmo. Well, it turned off the gizmo. So you can see that the UI is over there. Sometimes it's handy to be able to put UI in world space, and also it's sometimes just handier to have it like render there, so that you don't have to zoom in and out all the time. I could put it over here, and then I could just see my screen space there. But on the other hand, it's also perfectly fine to do screen space overlay. The most important thing to really think about is canvas scaler. So I'm gonna do another quick Unity tip. If you don't know what you're doing, you should always just use the scale with screen size and then expand. Because if you design it this way, whatever you're designing is gonna be on screen always. What I'm doing, for instance, right now is I'm gonna make 2 different kinds of UI, because there's this portrait mode that's definitely for tablets and stuff, but most of the time there's also the landscape mode, which I'm gonna turn on now, and then actually put the renderer to the landscape camera and landscape perspective. So this thing is set to portrait. That's fine. So this is the portrait UI. And usually you could say, like, why not make one UI and have it be responsive? But in this case, it's going to be so much different that I'm going to actually use a different trick to rebind everything to twice. Like if I'm going to make references to stuff that I put in here that makes stuff appear there, I'm going to make 2 canvases with copies of the same objects and actually just have a collection of updatable stuff there, and then I'll show that later. That's not going to be today. Today I'm just going to make the okay, I'll just make the portrait version first. So going to portrait mode, so 9:16 instead of 16:9. 9:16 is the most, for tablets, is the most stretched version you would find. Phones, you might find something like even less wide, but for tablets, I'm really sure that there's not a lot that do that. So for tablets, I'm designing on 9:16, and then going back to the canvas settings, I'm going to use a reference resolution that makes sense to me. So always do that when you're designing stuff. Use a reference resolution that makes sense to you as a team. In this case, to me, because I'm doing this by myself. And to me, it makes sense to use pixels on a HD scale, so that I actually have this feeling for how large something is on the screen, being about 1,000 wide and about 2,000 high. It's just a little more wide and a little less high. It's not 1, 2, but it's 9:16. But still, I know that something that's 100 by 100 is just like that small. That's the feeling you need to have if you're designing stuff. Also, this kind of scale will match reference pixels per unit of 96. Actually, not 100, but it's fine. So it will also match up nicely with stuff that Unity puts in there automatically if you're into that stuff. I never do that. I always use my own UI things. Then also I said last time, not last time, one of the first times, maybe, yeah, the first time, of course, when I was importing packages, I said I always use TextMesh Pro, which is true. Text is just, it's way less good. TextMesh Pro. And now I'm actually going to need a font, because this is just the default font. So I'm going to go into my fonts and see, I'm going to go into my design document actually here and see what font we actually selected. Ooh, where is that? Let's, we did that last time. Is it in the main design document? I can't. I don't think we put that in there yet, did we? No, it was a separate brainstorm document. That's a bit silly. So here is a definitely a very good reason to. I know what I did. I did that in my design program. I'm showing you a very good reason to keep your documentation in order, because otherwise you'll be searching for it. So we tend to use Google fonts because it's easy. You can include the credits, the open font license in your license screen, and everybody uses them. And there's a lot of selection, and they're quality fonts in general. We also have some fonts that we bought in the past, but yeah, in general it's easier to comply with all the regulations that go with fonts if you're just using them when they're open font licensed. Let's see. Well, this is a bit dumb of me that I didn't check that first. But where did I put the fonts for Hatchball? Nope. Alright, I'm just gonna go into Google Fonts and see if I can remember. I'm gonna go into my history and go into Google Fonts and see what fonts we picked then. Now I know the date and I can go to that date. This is a silly thing. This is not the best content. I think I'll just change the font later. It's gonna be too much time here. Yeah, okay. I'll start just with the default font. Sorry for that. I'll change the font later, it's easy enough to do. So the font size now is 36. You see that this renders a bit weirdly, but that's just what TextMesh Pro does when it's just one frame and it's pretty small. So if I actually put this to the resolution Full HD portrait, so Full HD portrait, then you can see it already looks better. And now I'm going to make some of those anchors work. Super simple. First thing, I'm gonna get this layout thing here and actually gonna show it in the camera view so I know where to put the text. Where was it? Culling mask, helpers. There we go. All right, so we got lots of space above and lots of space below, and we've got a lot of space there on the side for non-gameplay elements. So what I'm gonna do with, I'm gonna need a couple of things. First thing I'm gonna just want to do right now, and I'm really not designing the UI yet, but I'm just making some stuff, is going to put at the bottom, so that's 0, 0, the anchor is at the bottom, and X is to the left and here at the bottom. So on to the left bottom, if I put it to position 0, 0, it will anchor to left bottom. You see that here as well. I can use these presets if I want to, like right upper, then it would be 1, 1, 1, 1. And I just like typing them. So right now it's there, and I'm using an alignment that's like bottom left as well in the Text Mesh Pro, so that it really aligns with the bottom of this thing. You can see that here. If I make this bigger, it doesn't matter, it stays on the bottom left. And then I'm actually going to use this trick, the top and actually top right, to see in my game view where I want the top right most part of the text to be. That's there. Because right here I can't see that because it's not rendering in over that thing. So that's actually what I want the top right to be, and now I'll put it back to bottom left. Now what happens here is that I definitely don't want the edge of the text to be completely in the corner of the screen. That's not a good thing. Even some devices don't render the top left, the bottom left. So I'm going to do something like this and visually get the bottom of the text without anything that comes lower than normal baseline, so a G or something. If you'd have like a G there, it would go lower, but I want the baseline to have the same amount of space as the left side, so that's kind of like this. So if you see visually now, this is kind of the same amount as this. You see that here, it's nicely aligned, and now I can use this as my event text thing. So what I'm going to do is do something in code, something like this: event 1, and then event 2 above, event 2 under that. And if I type under it, it will automatically scroll up. But what I'm also going to want to do is reduce the size of the first 2 lines. If I'm going to use this was 36, 28, something like that. Reduce the size of the first 2 lines, and then the second one will be the one that just fired. That's a nice way of logging for now. It's not per se necessary, but it's nice to do. And then I also give this some kind of gray color. That's too much. Okay, so that's another tip for those of you who didn't use this yet. If you're familiar with HTML, you can use a lot of those kinds of tags in there. Color code, I didn't need to use all 3 of them. AAA then. Yeah, that's better. So now you see, or actually I'll make it transparent. FFFFFF, and then AA. Yes. You see that if you use 8, then the first 2 are red, then green, then blue, and then alpha. So if I would put this to 4, you'd see it's not actually gray, but it's transparent. You can see that like this. It gets bluish. Here. You see it's transparent. It's way different from making this gray 111. Then it will be just very dark gray. All right. So this seems like a nice log thing. Now I'm just gonna have to put all this into code. Leave it empty for now. So this is going to be my event log. I'm definitely not sure. We didn't design that yet. I'm not sure if that's going to be in the game, if it's an option to like show all the events like this. But most pinball games have a kind of like last couple of things that happened, because in pinball sometimes it's just a lot of events happening quite close after each other, so you have to keep up. And especially also for accessibility, it's good to notice that if you only do that with sound, it's not gonna be helpful for those people who are, for instance, deaf or hard of hearing. So let's not do that. Let's take it into account. So everything has to be possibly visible. All right, so what I'm going to do now, I didn't put that one in yet, but I'm going to create a new script. And the new script would be called event log. And I have to wait for it. Event, really? Oh, there. Didn't get through fully. Event log with a capital, of course, it's a class. All right, so what does event log do? It sits on that TextMesh Pro UI text, and it will show me the events that happen. This one will get the event log script, yes. All right, so I copied this bit of text and I'm changing the end lines into \n, that's for new line. So this is just a string I've copied to make sure that I know what I want it to look like, and then I'm going to make some methods that actually put the log in there. Serialize field, what I'm doing. Require component type of text mesh pro UGUI, and I'm gonna need to import that. That's fine, using TM Pro. And then I need a text mesh pro UGUI. That's going to be the log. So now I'm going to, let's see, I can make a separate class called log that will just write everything into different places. But it could just be this one actually. I'm gonna rename this class to log. It's just gonna be called log. I like short, strong names because I'm gonna use this one a lot. Actually, am I? No, sorry, changed my mind. Event log. So it needs to have some methods that I can call from anywhere. So those are called static methods. So what I'm gonna need here, and that's just a programming tip. I don't have a separate clip for that, so I'm gonna call it a quick Unity tip. Use these kind of things called singletons. So singletons, what's a singleton? A singleton is having one object of a type in your runtime and be able to refer to that from any static environment. So I'm going to show you. There's this, sometimes I'd even call it public, but I'm not going to do that right now because I want some control over that. Static event log, so it's the thing itself, called instance. That's the instance of event log that is currently there. When do I normally give that a value? That's normally in the constructor. In the case of Unity, it's in awake because that's my first constructor. I say instance is this object. You could do a check, and I like to do that if instance is not null, which it should be at the start. Oh. Then I will give myself a warning. Not even a warning, an error, because it's really not allowed. Multiple event log objects in seeing. And then I'm going to actually, another tip, the C# tip. I'm way running, like doing a lot of tips these days. This kind of string, it's very nice. I'm just searching for the right term. Well, look it up. It's a string that begins with a dollar before the string opens. And if you do this, you can you probably have used this kind of stuff before. I'm just going to show you the not so handy way. And I want to say like the name of the instance object, game object.name, and then I do plus and then plus, and I do this game object.name. So this is a way I can like concatenate strings, like I can do, and then I say new line instance.gameObjectName plus, and all these pluses and closing marks can be easily made more readable by doing this and just putting that into the string. And then this is just one string where I put these brackets in, and if I want to put an actual bracket in there, I can just do backslash bracket. That will represent a normal bracket, but if I do this, then it will intertwine stuff that it will actually interpret into a string and concatenate that to get together itself. So this reads a lot nicer, and it writes a lot nicer in my opinion. All right, then. So that's I've now made the singleton, which means there's one instance of this object. If there isn't, it's really going to be a problem. And I'm not overwriting it. It doesn't really matter what you do there. If you overwrite it or not, it's always an error. And now I can add a method that's just static. I'm going to add a method called log, event log dot write, because otherwise it would be really weird to say log.log. And I'm writing a line, line to the log. So what I need now is for this specific thing that is just a TextMesh Pro object, I'm just going to need those 3 lines, the 3 last lines I want to show, nothing more. So let's say I need to swap them out, but I don't want to like hard code 3 different strings. So I'm gonna make a buffer, a line buffer for the previous strings. That's an array of strings, and then I'm gonna do the last line as one single string. So what happens now, if I have line, well, I should first, of course, make sure that I know how many lines to show in the buffer. So I'm gonna say scroll back is, let's say 2, and then line buffer, yeah, I could do that. Line buffer is a new array of 2 strings. Then yes, I'll when I write something to the log, I will say instance dot stuff. I always often do this so that I have the control over like what I can reach. I'm not making the entire instance public. I'm just making the static method public so that I can have public methods that are meant for the actual object and public methods that are actually meant to be static. That keeps me in control. So I'm making this public method public void doWrite. Whoops, doWrite. Some people like to use like this kind of stuff or that kind of stuff, or I don't know. I like the way, like always being able to read everything that I write in code as much as possible being normal English words. So doWrite string line. So what this does is just call what this does here is just call the method do write for the object that is currently the log object. What does that do? It will set last line to line, but before it does that, it needs to save the value of last line into the first scrollback buffer and so on. It will need to scroll it back. So I need to have a for loop, and this is also this simple Visual Studio thing. After for, I just do tab, so it gives me a loop. I'm just gonna use the I, and it will start at the last line buffer. That is line buffer dot length -1. So that's the last element of the line buffer, and it will end at 0. It will end at 1, yeah, and we'll go down, and from line buffer 2 I will copy line buffer 1. So right now it really doesn't do a lot because it will just go through one thing, but if I do decide, let's make it 3 for now, for instance, I can show you that it works. It will copy the line buffer from the last bit, -1, and then keep doing that for every one of these. As this is just a single line for thing, I like to put it on one line. So what it does now, it goes from the back to the front and copies the line buffer, the last string up. You'll see what it does once I start the next little bit. The last line of the line buffer 0 will be what the actual last line was, and I now notice that I definitely don't need a separate one. I can just always go until number 1, and then the new line goes into line buffer 0. Okay, so then after this, I also want to write that string, like this one that I copied here. So what happens? Like the first event that happened, event 1, is going to be in my line buffer number 2. It starts at 0. So index 2 will have the first thing, index 1 will have the second thing, index 0 will have the last thing. So what I'm going to do now is create a string, and actually going to do that while filling it. So string output, I'll start with an empty string. No, I'll start with this start that I need. That. And then I will add all the lines. So I'm gonna change this back into a block. For every line that I just copied, I will also add it to the string. Output, add to output, line buffer I, and a new line symbol, like that one. Whoops. So it will add the line and a new line symbol, and then at the end it has this, and at the end of the output I'm going to add the last line. But before I do that, I have to close these color things because I want the last line not to be influenced by those bits, and then add the new line there. No, it's already added. Yeah, that will work. And I won't add a new line at the end because that's not necessary. So what happens now is if I do some adds to this, I will get rid of my comment. I don't need that anymore. Adds a line to the log, and this is actually a comment that goes before a method, so I'm going to put it down like this. It adds a line to the log, and right now it just does that in the UI. Well, I still need to put the output somewhere. It needs to go into the Text Mesh Pro that I have here. Log.text is output. So the output goes into the text of that log bit. Now I actually didn't use my constant there. Oops. So yes, I see this is all correct now. It's just good. So what I can do now, I have to of course make sure that this thing actually puts it into log. I did not do that yet. Log is get component text mesh pro UUE. Oops. Well, I'll just type it, that's quicker. So I get the component. If I write a string, it will output that in the way I formatted it. So let's just do some stuff. I did not make some global game logic yet. So I'm going to do that now. Create an empty object, call it global, and I'm going to add a script called global, and that's going to, oh no, global, yes. And that's going to be my script that runs the global logic for the game. Could call it game logic, some people call it game logic. And then let's look at global. I should put it in my scripts folder. Right. It's done, come on. Yes, it did actually open. So let's just say at the start of the game, and that's definitely not going to be the actual start method, but let's say I'm going to have something that starts the game that I can use later, but for now only thing I'm going to do is log this thing, event log dot write game started. So that's the first thing I write. Let's say second thing I write is 3 balls left. I'm gonna change that once I get to ball spawning, so that it will write that in the next line. And then once the ball is lost, I don't do that yet, so I'm just gonna add some event to there's no real stuff there yet. Well, not something I can easily test, but for instance, when I get to the what is it, rollover group, at this point all are lit. I'm going to add, oh, that's also a tip for Visual Studio. If you type to do capitals, it will light up, and you can easily find all your to-dos in a list tasks. You see, to do. If you type to do in capitals, it will put it in a task list. Super handy. I'm gonna say here add logic / event trigger, because I'm actually later going to create a utility class. I'm gonna call it pinball events, and that's gonna have all the events in there that I can trigger, so that it will also be exposed to the editor for people who are building levels with progression in there. So you don't actually only get to build the level in the editor with all the elements, but you can also build the order of events and what triggers what. But for now, I'm just going to add some event log write dot write write rollovers lit, and don't do anything else. Same goes for where's drop target group there. So all are dropped, same thing happens there. To do add logic or an event trigger, like, and this is going to be a drop target group, and I'm going to use my special string again. Forgot how it's called. And then say the game object.name. Right, so I've got some events happening here, and they should show up in the bottom left. First thing should be game started, 3 balls left. And it's not working. Haha. Why is it not? Ah, that's silly. Oh, it saved this one into the wrong folder because it was still open. I'm going to close this. See for myself here if there's 2 globals. That's what happens if you want to go faster than the computer wants to go. It did not even save it there, but I think right now it did. Yes. Let's see. Yes, there we go. You see, game started, 3 balls left. There's a little problem now actually that I can't see stuff because I'm gonna retry and put my helpers on there. So yeah. Did I do that for this one as well? No, I don't think so. No. Okay, cool. Gonna go back, and here we go. Right, game started, 3 balls left. You see that thing is okay. I could try like doing this myself. No, bang. No, it's really hard to get it past that point. There we go. Oh, comes back automatically. Oh, yeah. Now it's on the right. No, it's not. All right, need to tweak that. Maybe that one. No. Yes. Oh. Darn. All right, that's not nice. There we go. Come up there. Ah. Okay, I'm gonna do it manually. Okay, it's coming down. Ball. I'm gonna drop the ball over there. Oh no, that one is already lit. There. That's one. And then over there for the third one, and we'll see here rollover's lit. Oh. Oof, rollover's lit. You see? So that's actually just the way the log works now. So this is the first very simple bit of UI, but it does give me more feel of like this is actually a game and not just some toy that I'm using here for physics simulation purposes, but it's actually got rules. For those rules, I might just see, let's see. I wanted to add the ball spawning, but I'm also tired because it was a very, very busy week, just like I said at the start. So I might just stop right now and leave that for next time, for Sunday. Yes, I'm going to do that. So also, don't forget my own Git tip. It's really, really hard. It's really easy to forget to commit. I know, I mean, I always forget that quite a lot. So I end up with 2 big commits myself. And sometimes I just split them up and I just commit the first few bits, but then it's not exactly the same. So sometimes you want to check out a commit before, but meh, it's not really the nicest way to do it. Just remember to commit after adding anything like new feature or new functions. So what I'm doing now is I'm committing the event log. Adds event log. And there you see it. I'm tired. Rollover group. Yeah, that just adds some stuff. right? So there's no actual functionality added there, so I don't need to add it in my commit message. I could have done push automatically, but right. So yeah, that'll wrap it up for today. I'll be back on Sunday. Yes, on Sunday, same time. And yeah, of course, please, if you like this stuff, just drop a like. If you didn't follow yet or subscribe, depending on YouTube or like Twitch or YouTube, please follow us or subscribe if you want to subscribe and actually be notified on YouTube when there's a new stream coming. You should, there's a little bell icon after you subscribe. You should press that one, and then you actually get notified, because that's not something that happens automatically anymore for everything is subscribed to. So right now it's just I'm wrapping up. I'm gonna end again with a little bit of music that I've actually played the last couple of times. So maybe I'll just mix it up for those people who actually watch more of these. I'll put in a new track next time. Track that is really weird. So just definitely check back for that one. Yeah. I hope you had fun. I hope you learned stuff, and yeah, let me know in the comments if you think of something, or if you, well, have any comments. Yes, see you all hopefully next Sunday. Bye bye.